Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. Looking back at Chang'an. Gazing back at Chang'an, embroidered towers rise in heaps. At mountain's peak, 1,000 doors open in succession. A single rider speeds through red dust, the consort smiles. None know that he brings lychees from afar. These famous lines were written by the renowned Tang dynasty poet, Du Mu. The beauty of Yang Yuhuan. In Chinese history, Yang Yuhuan was one of the four great beauties. Her looks described as dazzling enough to shame the fish and birds, eclipsing the moon and flowers. It was precisely because of her unparalleled beauty that, upon becoming consort Yang, she won the devoted love of Emperor Xuanzong of Tang. His affection for her was so deep that he became increasingly entranced, neglecting state affairs. However, this seemingly enviable love story ultimately met its tragic end at Mawei slope, becoming a sorrowful tale passed down through the ages, evoking sighs and lamentations from generations to come. A mysterious tomb. Interestingly, over 1,000 years later, archaeologists discovered Yang Guifei's tomb. Yet, upon further investigation, experts noticed some peculiar discrepancies, as if an unknown mystery lay hidden within. What exactly was going on? Let us explore the secrets together. The early life of Yang Yuhuan. According to historical records, Yang Yuhuan was born in 719 AD. Her ancestors once held high-ranking positions during the Sui dynasty, but after being implicated in the Xuanwu Gate incident, her family fell from grace. As a child, Yang Yuhuan was sent to live with her third uncle, enduring a difficult childhood. Yet fate bestowed upon her an extraordinary beauty, laying the foundation for an exceptional destiny. At 15, Yang Yuhuan had grown into a stunning young woman. During the wedding of Emperor Xuanzong's daughter, she caught the eye of his son, Li Mao. And soon after, the two were married, forming a loving couple. But who could have predicted that this once blissful marriage would soon be shattered by an unexpected third party? And shockingly, this third party was none other than her own father-in-law, Emperor Xuanzong. The emperor's forbidden desire. Emperor Xuanzong once had a beloved empress, with whom he shared a deep bond. However, when Yang Yuhuan was 18, the empress suddenly passed away, plunging Xuanzong into sorrow. Desperate for solace, it was then that a court minister suggested, Yang Yuhuan possesses unparalleled beauty. She is truly a rare gem in the palace. These words stirred the emperor's heart. From the moment he first laid eyes on Yang Yuhuan, he was captivated by her beauty, falling hopelessly in love. Yet, as she was already his son's wife, how could he bring her into his harem without scandal? Thus, Emperor Xuanzong devised an ingenious plan. He first had Yang Yuhuan ordained as a Taoist nun, temporarily sending her to a temple. Then, when the time was right, he summoned her back to the palace, formally making her his consort. To erase any lingering awkwardness, he also arranged a new wife for Li Mao, completing the transition seamlessly. And so, Yang Yuhuan transformed from a daughter-in-law into an imperial consort, beginning her legendary yet tumultuous life. A love that shook the empire. Inside the imperial palace, Yang Yuhuan became Emperor Xuanzong's most cherished consort. So much so that he personally composed a melody for her, the song of rainbow skirt and feathered dress. Proudly, he declared to others, having consort Yang is like possessing the most precious treasure. Her status in the palace was unrivaled. As the saying goes, when one rises to power, their family prospers as well. With Yang Guifei's favor, her entire family flourished. Her eldest sister was granted the title Lady of Korea. Her third sister became Lady of Gua. And her eighth sister was named Lady of Qin. All enjoying immense prestige. Meanwhile, her distant cousin Yang Guizhong gained Emperor Xuanzong's trust and swiftly rose to power, becoming a high-ranking minister with unparalleled influence. With the emperor's favor and the consort's support, Yang Guizhong wielded immense control, his arrogance unchecked. Even members of the imperial Li family feared his authority. The rise of a rival. But as the old saying goes, heaven's justice is inescapable, no one is spared forever. Yang Guizhong's monopoly over power earned him countless enemies. Among them, his most formidable rival was none other than the mighty general An-Shi, who commanded a vast army. Their power struggle simmered beneath the surface, eventually leading to an upheaval that sealed the tragic fate of both Yang Guifei and the Tang dynasty itself. In the year 755 AD, An-Shi launched the infamous An-Shi rebellion, a historical upheaval that shocked the Tang dynasty. Under the banner of purging the emperor's court, he vowed to eliminate the so-called treacherous minister Yang Guizhong. Emperor Xuanzong was caught off guard as An-Shi's army advanced with unstoppable momentum, swiftly approaching Chang'an. With no alternative, the emperor fled in haste, taking along consort Yang and his close entourage on a desperate journey westward to seek refuge. Before long, the fleeing imperial entourage reached Mawei slope. By then, the soldiers' patience had reached its limit. Seething with rage, they blamed Yang Guizhong as the chief culprit behind the kingdom's turmoil and launched a mutiny, demanding his execution. Although Emperor Xuanzong remained the sovereign, he had already lost the army's loyalty. Faced with their overwhelming pressure, he had no choice but to acquiesce, allowing Yang Guizhong to be put to death. However, the enraged soldiers were not satisfied. Their fury soon turned toward consort Yang, whom they also saw as a source of the empire's chaos. They clamored for her to atone for the nation's suffering with her own life. Unable to suppress the rebellion, Emperor Xuanzong was forced into a compromise. Consort Yang was ultimately ordered to take her own life at Mawei slope, meeting a tragic end. Thus, one of history's most renowned beauties perished, her life extinguished in the midst of war and chaos. As time passed, the An-Shi rebellion was eventually quelled, yet the empire was irreversibly changed. The once glorious Tang dynasty would never return to its former splendor. In his later years, Emperor Xuanzong returned to Chang'an, gazing upon the remnants of his once prosperous capital. The anguish in his heart was unbearable. He was no longer the spirited ruler he once had been. In 762 AD, Emperor Xuanzong, Li Longji, passed away, marking the final chapter of his legendary love story with consort Yang. A mystery that endures. Interestingly, a persistent folk legend claims that consort Yang did not actually die, that she had secretly escaped. Some dismiss this as mere fabrication. After all, the Mawei slope incident was no trivial matter. By that time, Emperor Xuanzong had lost his authority, and the army was in a state of intense agitation. If he had dared to stage a deception, it would have only escalated the rebellion, making the situation even more unmanageable. From a logical standpoint, consort Yang's death appears to be an undeniable fact. Yet, despite this, the mystery of her fate has never fully faded over the centuries. Adding intrigue to the story, when her supposed tomb was unearthed by archaeologists, some new clues seemed to emerge. The tomb without a body. Upon discovering consort Yang's burial site, archaeologists immediately conducted investigations. As expected, the tomb had long been plundered by grave robbers, its gold, silver, and jewels looted, a common fate for the tombs of historical figures. What truly shocked experts, however, was what they found when they opened the coffin. There were no human remains inside. Under normal circumstances, even after 1,000 years, traces of a corpse, such as skeletal remains or decay marks, should be present. Yet, strangely enough, only tattered garments and scattered fragments were found inside the coffin. Consort Yang's body was nowhere to be seen. This startling discovery led historians and scholars to a renewed speculation. Could it be that Consort Yang had never died at Mawei Slope but had somehow escaped in secret? Or perhaps the person executed that day had not been her at all? A mysterious journey across the sea? Various legends attempt to explain Consort Yang's fate. One of the most widespread theories suggests that she fled overseas and eventually settled in Japan. This claim is not entirely baseless. During the Tang dynasty, maritime trade and diplomatic relations with Japan, Silla, modern-day Korea, and Bohai, now northeastern China, were flourishing. If someone had intentionally arranged for Consort Yang's escape by sea, it would not have been impossible. What makes this legend even more intriguing is that Japan has an actual tomb claimed to be Consort Yang's. And some locals even claim descent from her lineage. Additionally, some film and television adaptations, such as the historical drama Yang Guifei, have embraced this version of events, portraying her as having lived in exile overseas. Of course, no definitive evidence has ever surfaced to prove these theories. Perhaps, in the end, people are not so much interested in whether Consort Yang truly survived but rather in the poignant love story between her and Emperor Xuanzong. For centuries, people have longed for lovers to reunite, yet their romance was cruelly cut short. This reluctance to accept such a tragic ending may have been what gave birth to the countless myths surrounding her fate. Regardless of the truth, the story of Consort Yang has long since become an immortal legend, echoing through the ages. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.